Hi guys, this is Daniel of GiantBomb.com, and you're watching How to Win, Resistance 3 Journal Guide Part 1. I'll be showing you how to find every single journal that there is in Insomniac's Resistance 3, starting with chapters 1 through 10. The first one is dead simple. At the very beginning of the game, just walk over and grab the journal on the table. You honestly can't miss it. For the second one, just watch for the woman sweeping on your way to the shooting range, and grab it on the room adjacent to her. You'll be able to find it on top of the bed. The first journal in Chapter 2 is right near the start. Just head into the room on the left, where it's on a small table. The next journal in Chapter 2 isn't very far from the first, and it's just 2 rooms away atop a desk and next to a typewriter.
Death squads everywhere. Storms coming.
A bit later on in the chapter, you'll find an audio diary on the second story of the house you enter through its garage. You'll find it on top of a bed. Skip ahead to Chapter 5. Here, you can find an easy journal right at the front of the boat, ready for your grubby mitts.
The Chimera have changed their strategy. They find trouble ahead.
You'll find the next one but a few feet away, at the opposite end of the boat. And that's it for Chapter 5. In Chapter 6, you can find the first journal in the train yard, all the way to the north on top of a boxcar.
The Chimera are parasitic.
The second journal isn't too far away from the first one. Just jump down and look for a hole in the fence, hop through it, and you'll find an audio diary in another boxcar. A bit later, after you and Malikov ride the elevator and climb a ladder, you can find the VTOL manual on a mattress. Not long after, when you ride a zipline across to the other building and drop inside it, you'll see the next journal on a shelf. Within the factory, after you fall in a hole in the floor, you'll find an audio journal atop a table with some other shit. The next one's pretty easy to miss. Still within the factory, hop across the ruined catwalk to the other side, and beside a magnum, you can get yourself another journal. After getting out of the factory, you'll be in an old room with a bunch of boxes. Atop one of the terrible shelves, you'll find yourself an audio journal. In the same place that you find the Deadeye for the first time, you also find another audio journal along a shelf. You'll enter an apartment building soon after, the second floor of which will let you grab a rather depressing letter to Santa from atop a couch. In Chapter 7, look for where EXIT is written on the wall, and head down the path which it faces. Down there, the journal's on a desk. After you set down the power core and find yourself in a reasonably safe area in Chapter 8, you'll be able to find an audio journal atop a box, at the foot of a bunk. The only journal in Chapter 9 can be difficult to find, especially as you'll be fighting enemies when you run by it for the first time. Search for an alternative staircase in the ruined building near the chapter's start. At the top of them, there's a nice little journal laying on the ground for you.
We have taken material samples from some.
After you take out or run past the snipers at the beginning of Chapter 10, you'll find an old mine. Climb the ladder there to find an audio journal. Later on in the darker parts of the same mine, you'll see the next journal near the shield drones you encounter down there. The journal itself is in a little enclave at the side of a tunnel.
Chimeran organ.
The next one is just a tiny bit further down the path, where you'll find it on your left where the tunnel begins to curve to the right. And the last journal in Chapter 10 is just before the bridge upon which you fight a dropship. Search for a sign that says, "Tunnel ahead," to the bridge's left. The last journal is laying at its base. And that's it for Part 1 of my Resistance 3 Journal Location Guide. Stay tuned for Part 2, which will cover the journal locations for Chapters 11 through 19. See you then.